Hi there. Are you a fresh graduate looking to make a mark in the field of management, especially in international markets? Well, then this video is exactly for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about MIM or Masters in Management as a very, very good program to pursue in order to get a head start in the field of management. My name is Anand Venkatesan. I'm a founder mentor at Mentors Capital, a networking and mentoring platform whereby students can connect with mentors across the globe and make better admission decisions. All right, so let's get started with our agenda. I will talk about the MIM program and some of its main features, and will make a case for why MIM is an excellent option to pursue an international career, especially in the field of management. So exactly what is the MIM? So MIM is a foundational degree, is a foundational program in the field of management, right? In that sense, it's very, very similar to an MBA because it teaches you all the concepts in the different functional areas of management. Again, like an MBA, an MIM is also extremely flexible, which means that there are programs which have a duration of 1 year and there are others which can be for a 2-year duration. Much like an MBA, an MIM also allows you to either get a general view of management and all its functional areas, or allows you to specialize in a specific field. Know that besides an MIM, which is a general program, there are specialized masters like the Master in Marketing, the Master in Finance, the Master in HR, the Master in Supply Chain Management, and many other such programs that you can pursue. So exactly why should you pursue an MIM and who should be doing that? Well, let's talk about the educational background that you need to pursue an MIM. The MIM is ideally suited, first and foremost, for any stream, right? You could have pursued engineering, you could have pursued commerce, you could be, you could have studied management before, or you could be from the arts or the sciences department. MIM is a program that is truly meant for people from diverse fields. In fact, the MIM classroom, much like the MBA classroom, is a very diverse group composed of people from different sectors, different educational backgrounds, different nationalities, different cultures, and different likes and aspirations. One prerequisite that you should keep in mind is that MIM, when it is offered by most North American or European schools, requires one to have 16 years of education, which means that a 4-year undergraduate degree is actually preferred. But make sure that you go through the admission requirements or eligibility criteria very carefully, because a lot of B schools increasingly are allowing international candidates to get their degrees verified by an external agency. This way, if you're pursuing a 3-year undergraduate program, you can actually get a verification or an accreditation that says that it's equivalent to the 4-year program that's studied in other countries. So that's what you need just to have completed a bachelor's degree in any field, preferably, in fact, a non-management or a non-business field. As long as you've completed it, you are eligible for an MIM. What about work experience, right? Now, we all know that MBA is a program that requires you to have worked, typically requires about 3 to 5 years at the bare minimum. Is that true for an MIM? Well, absolutely not. The MIM is a program that stresses on targeting fresh graduates or early career professionals. This means that to apply for an MIM program, you actually do not need any work experience. But with all things, as with all things, this is also not entirely true. You will get extra, you will attract extra attention and maybe create a stronger application if you have a year or so of work experience, just so that you understand the world of business and corporate world. Well, ideally, if you have worked, you should have under 2 years of experience, because most B schools prefer that candidates with more than 2 or more years of experience go for the MBA program, right? So there you go. That's why you should be pursuing an MIM, because you can do so right after your undergraduate program without the need for any work experience. And much more, it gives you the opportunity to pursue, a fundamental understanding of the field of management, and also to do so in a very, very global, multicultural environment, right? Remember that most MIM programs will have almost 50 to 70 nationalities in their classroom, right? So this diversity is what makes MIM an extremely attractive program, if not the best program. Okay, before I go ahead and tell you a little more about the MIM program, let me quickly also tell you about what we as mentorscapital.com provide for you students. Well, we believe that mentoring is really a very, very basic need for every single student, whether in school, college, or even for a working professional, right? Mentoring can be used for a variety of reasons across your life. Well, it could be just guidance about what I should be doing and how to evaluate the choices that one has. At the other end, it could probably be about lessons learned and some smart tips or strategies that could apply to you in your particular phase of life. It could help you with specific things like tackling interviews, like tackling essay questions, like even preparing for tests like the GRE, GMAT, or the SAT, right? And there are many, many more such reasons why mentoring is probably going to make the difference between a well-researched decision and a very, very well thought out decision. How does it work? Well, we have a website that's www.mentorscapital.com, and you simply need to access it on your mobile phone or your laptop PCs. And once you do that, you go to the section. We have two sections on our website, one targeting students who are looking to study in India and hence domestic aspirants. And we have a separate section for international aspirants or study abroad aspirants. Right. Once you go to any of these pages, you'll find that there's a large list of mentors from diverse backgrounds and fields, and in fact, experiences as well. So all you need to do is search through their profiles. In fact, there are filters that you can apply. You can search by keyword and make sure that you find a mentor with exactly the kind of background and qualification that you seek. And lo and behold, the one-on-one connection shall be made very, very soon by our team. And you can then get on a Zoom call to discuss all the queries and questions that you have and get answers to them very, very soon. Besides one-on-one mentorship, Mentors Capital also provides a comprehensive solution to all your admission needs. This starts from shortlisting colleges or even creating applications to some of those colleges, what we categorize as application support. It also includes, very, very specific areas within the admission process, which would be preparing for just interviews or video assessments or even test preparation for GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, IELTS, or the like. We believe that we are one-stop shop solution to all your admission needs. So don't forget to check out our website. That's www.mentorscapital.com. All right, so let's continue. In this video, I was telling you about MIM and why it's such a great program if you're a fresh graduate. Let's now try to understand what are the admission requirements by the top B schools. Remember, we're talking about the top 10 to 20 B schools offering MIM programs. Well, let's start with academics, right? What kind of educational background do they look for, and what kind of prowess do you need to show? Well, I did say before that there isn't a specific discipline that these schools are looking at. So you could be an engineer or a commerce graduate, a business graduate, or even a literature or mathematics graduate. All they require is that you show a strong fundamental and strong work ethic when it comes to academics, right? And this means that the top B schools across the globe look at a GPA of minimum 8 points out of 10, right? You can obviously scale it according to your GPA classification, but the idea is that you need to be in the top 20% of your of your degree and of students who are pursuing your degree. So that's about academics. Be very, very strong on academics. Number two, most B schools across the globe tend to ask for a testing requirement, which means that at one end is the aptitude test, like the GRE or the GMAT, and at the other end is an English language requirement such as TOEFL or the IELTS, right? Now, while TOEFL or IELTS are more qualification on basis, which means that you need to have at least a 7 band on the IELTS, or at least an 80 plus, 85 plus score on the TOEFL. But in, for specifically for MIM admissions, you need to be targeting a very, very high GRE or GMAT score, right? Now, what does that mean for you? Well, ideally, I would say that any top school across the globe requires at least a score of 700 or 720 on the GMAT. If you're really targeting the Ivy Leagues, especially those in the US, maybe a 720 would be needed for a program like the one offered by Columbia, or Yale, or many of the others like these. Well, this is about GMAT, which is ideally for the field of management. But if you're somebody who's taking the GRE, then similarly, ideally, the bare minimum you need is about a 320. But if you really want to make sure, then target a score of about 328 or thereabouts to really impress the admission committees of these schools. All right, so we've talked about academics and testing requirements. What about profile? Because one of the things that we know about universities abroad is that they look at your candidature in a holistic sense. They want to understand what you stand for and what are your key personality traits, and also whether you can become a good leader, right? So since most B schools are looking at leadership qualities, that's something that you really need to address in your profile. Try to show positions of responsibility that tell the admission committee that you're somebody who takes initiative, you're somebody who's competitive, and you have handled responsibilities in the past and created impact. Similarly, an interest in business can best be displayed by way of internships and projects that you've pursued during term breaks in your undergraduate degree. Remember, when you're talking about internships, I think it's more about the richness of your experience that counts, but having a big brand on your resume really does not hurt. Well, besides all of this, there is this vast field of extracurricular or co-curricular activities that also can make a real big difference, right? These can help show a vibrant personality, somebody who's great at communication, somebody who's a go-getter and execute tasks with ease, right? And these are all qualities that go into making a successful leader. So try to display all of those on your profile. Well, since we've been talking all along about how the MBA and the MIM are similar terms. In fact, chances are that you've probably heard about MBA before, but that MIM has been a relative unknown. Well, there are good reasons for that, because MIM is actually almost a decade old in terms of acceptance by the business world. So it's a very, very new program from that standpoint. But how does it really compare with the MBA, right? Should we still be targeting an MBA? And does that mean that MIM is not that great for your career? Well, let's make that comparison. So why does one pursue an MBA, or what are the reasons, or what, at what stage does one look at an MBA as a program of choice? Well, primarily an MBA is suited for somebody who has already enjoyed a strong professional career, right? Remember, most MBA programs have an average work experience number of about 5 years, right? Which means that most candidates end up having between 3 to 8 years of work experience when they apply or get into a B school for an MBA. Number two, an MBA program at least the top ranked schools can be extremely competitive, right? There are very, very few seats, and you have applicants from across the globe looking to get admission. So it's extremely competitive, and that also reflects in terms of their admission criteria. Typically, an MBA is preferred by candidates to either further their career requirements, which means access growth and access top leadership positions after an MBA. But more often than not, it means that an MBA is for quite a few reasons. It's also an MBA is also a good way of making a shift in career, right? So if let's say you're in a particular field and you're really enjoying yourself, then an MBA could be one way in which you can change tracks and establish a career in a related but new field. And last but not the least, remember, there's a lot of news that I'm sure you guys have been reading about how MBA can be extremely expensive and heavy on your pockets. Remember, the tuition fee can sometimes run to as much as 1 crore or a little more than that, right? So it does make a huge dent in your pocket, even if you can indeed make it work by way of education loans or financial aid. All right, so that's the MBA. Extremely successful, but also extremely competitive and heavy on your pocket. And again, if you're a fresh graduate, then it looks like a distant dream, because the reality is that you're probably going to apply to some of the top B schools across the globe after 4 to 5 years. Right? In contrast, the MIM is actually a program that admits fresh graduates or even those working professionals who are in early stages of their career. Right? So maybe a couple of years of work experience, just to sort of get a feel of a business environment or a corporate work environment, and you're ready to enter a MIM program. Well, since it is a new program, the number of applicants is vastly less than those for an MBA, right? And it's also considered a niche field, so there's not so much demand for it yet. As compared to an MBA, since the pool of applicants for an MIM program tends to be very raw, tends to be inexperienced, the job roles that you get into after an MIM tend to be usually entry-level roles, right? Don't mistake me. This doesn't mean that an MBA for you is a complete waste, because or an MIM is a complete waste, because it does give you an entry-level position in an international firm, in a market or geography that you could not have otherwise accessed, right? And the other way of looking at it is that while I'm calling these entry-level roles, these are usually 1 or 2 levels below the jobs that you would get, or the roles that you would get after an MBA, right? So sure, it is going to be a lower role, but it also is accessible for you much earlier in your career, right? And so the impact you can make is that much more, or the potential for you in a work environment or a business area is that much more. And last but definitely not the least is the fact that an MIM program is vastly more affordable as compared to an MBA. In fact, it comes at a fraction of a cost, where most MBA programs cost you about $100,000 or thereabouts, maybe even quite a bit more than that. Most MIM programs across the globe, we're talking about Latin America, we're talking about North America and Europe and Canada, Australia. These kind of locations offer MIM programs for as little as about 30 to 50,000 US dollars, right? So if you convert that, it works out to somewhere between 25 to 35 lakhs as tuition fee. Obviously, you need to account for a little more in terms of living and travel expenses in the 1 year or 2 years that you study, right? But an annual expense, which is a fraction of the cost that you would pay for an MBA, means that it really does give you the ROI that you're looking for, right? It does pay you back in terms of an investment, right? And obviously, all of these points together mean that it's the MIM is an excellent option for career growth, for a very, very global experience, because you're studying in a foreign country, you're studying a course that has industry linkages, that has some of the global leaders coming down taking guest lectures, and you working on case studies that that deal with industry happenings from across the globe. And last but not the least, you could choose a generalized track, right? Understand management across all functional areas, and you could also choose to specialize into a specific domain, right? Remember, while MIM is indeed a 1-year program, a lot of graduates prefer to actually follow that up with a second MIM program, a specialized master's that then builds upon the general management principles that you've learned in your first MIM, right? So it does give you the option or the opportunity to specialize in a particular field and taste success in your chosen area. Well, I'm going to leave you with this slide, which shows you some of the top ranked MIM programs from across the globe, right? In fact, these are not MIM programs. These are the B schools that offer the top MIM programs. Well, we're talking, and you can see that these popular names come from across the globe. Most of these I have curated are from Europe because that's where MIM is really, really popular. But if you come to the US, well, most popular public and private universities have started launching 1-year MIM, 1-year business masters programs too, right? So let me quickly sort of tell you about these. The University of St. Gallen is based out of Switzerland. It's an excellent option for somebody pursuing management, especially the field of finance. As is the London Business School, a name that needs really no mention or explanation. HEC Paris is obviously based out of Paris, but it's again one of the really, really top ranked schools for MIM. ISADE is a school based in Spain, and again very, very considered very, very top ranked and very, very professional. IE Business School is also based in France, while ISADE is based in Barcelona. IE is based in Madrid, and so Madrid-based school that really can give you the push in career that you're looking for. Other programs like other schools like the ESSEC and the EDHEC program are based, EDHEC school are based in France. SDA Bocconi is based out of Italy, and so probably a great option for luxury brands and the like. And finally, the WHU Otto Beisheim School in Germany, while it is a great school for management, it also would be a great place to study operations and supply chain, right? So you can see a vast variety of schools with very, very specific niches that they've built for themselves. So what are you waiting for? Start working on your application and start planning to apply for MIM in the very next cycle, that is 2023 admit. Well, if you have any queries, I'm going to leave, show you my email address on the screen here. That's anand@mentorscapital.com. Do shoot me any queries if you want me to answer your questions, or if you feel that I could address them in my next video, do write into me, or maybe drop me an SMS or WhatsApp at the number that's shown over here. I thank you for your time and hope that this video was useful.